time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits, whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts. This is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe, a Super Bowl edition of the podcast as we are looking forward here to Super Bowl 57. Can't believe it has been one full year since my Los Angeles Rams won the Super Bowl in Los Angeles last year, defeating the Cincinnati Bengals. But here we are 1 year later. The Rams not only did not make the playoffs, they only won 5 games, and it was one of the worst finish of any defending Super Bowl champ. But hey, things happen. We move on. Life goes on. Hopefully the Rams will be back again next year. But if nothing else, I got my Super Bowl in LA. So I am just as thrilled as can be. I have a very special show for you guys today. We have not one, but 2 outstanding guests for you today. And they are 2 very good friends of mine, 2 guys that will represent each of their teams well today on the show. Each of them are representing, of course, Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. So we're getting a fan perspective here from each team for the big game this Sunday, right, out there in Glendale, Arizona, not too far from where I sit right now, 5 hours or so by car, and a place that I've spent a lot of time really in the Phoenix area in multiple spring trainings and just a lot of good times out there, memories with sports and watching baseball and umpiring baseball, all kinds of great stuff there. So today on the show, we are going to be joined by none other than Carlos Martinez from Kansas City and my good buddy Jeff Andrews from Connecticut, who is a big-time Philadelphia Eagles fan, and he's only about, I think, 3 hours from Philly. So it's kind of weird that both of these guys root for teams generally in the area where they live. I know that's weird for a lot of LA sports fans out there, but hey, I guess they're the weird ones. I don't know. No, I love both these guys. I actually got to umpire with Carlos Martinez in the minor leagues, in the California League, specifically a little bit in the Midwest League in the postseason back in 2011, 2012. It is so hard to believe it's been over 10 years. And with Jeff Andrews, sticking with that 2011, 2012 theme, I worked with Jeff in Arizona at at spring training as we worked for the Los Angeles Dodgers spring training of the minor league guys there. It was in Glendale in 2011 and 2012. So 3,000 miles apart, but we met there, had a great time. Carlos, he lives in Kansas City, originally from Puerto Rico, and a guy that he came to Kansas City in his college years and he just fell in love with it. So you're going to get 2 unique perspectives here, one from the Chiefs, one's from the Eagles. And I don't know if there are super fans or correspondents, whatever you want to call it, but I thought what better way to kick off Super Bowl weekend than to have both these guys on and for you guys to hear some fan bases that are alive and thriving. The rest of us are home just watching this game, just trying to hope for, to get back 1 year. But for these guys, they're going through what I went through last year, what a few of you have gone through in recent years with your teams either winning or losing a Super Bowl. It's nerve-wracking. I'm sure they got no nails left. They're probably not sleeping well. At least that's how it was for me. But 2 great guys that I loved working baseball with, and guys that I became really, really good friends with. And I'm just so happy to have them on. Can't wait to see them in person, hopefully very, very soon. So we'll talk to them about their preparation for the game, how they became a fan, maybe a prediction for the game, stuff like that. And when we finish things up, I'll give you my brief prediction as we wrap things up. Started this show a little later in the week. We had some scheduling conflicts we had to work out. And also I wanted it to be a little closer to the game than our typical Wednesday broadcast. For those new to the show, thank you for tuning in. If you're here to listen to Carlos or to Jeff, thanks for joining the podcast. You can follow it anytime chance you get. I'm usually rambling away about sports or current events or something or other once a week. So if you want to give us a like, give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever is your cup of tea, please do so and support the Get Home Safe podcast. All right, it's time to kick off Super Bowl weekend. Not with ESPN, not with the NFL Network. This is the Get Home Safe podcast, and we got 2 outstanding guests, guys that are going to be passionate about their teams and also fill us in a little insight about the fan bases of each squad. Let's start things off with the AFC, go in alphabetical order maybe, with the Kansas City Chiefs and my good buddy, Carlos Martinez.
Let's go, baby. Go Chiefs!
What's up, Carlos Martinez, my brother from Puerto Rico? How's it going, my friend? I haven't seen you in over 10 years, man.
I know, man. It's been a while. 10 years that we haven't connected in person, but it's always following up with you in social media. And life is good, man. I can't complain. Just working my life away for ADP and taking care of my son Clay. Just engaged. Have a wedding coming up soon. So just living life, man. Growing up.
Dude, from the sound of things, I think you need to go buy a lottery ticket. You're winning at life right now. You got your Chiefs, you got your lady, you got your boy. I mean, hey, don't step on any cracks in the cement or anything, man. Go buy a lottery ticket.
I know life is good. I've been very blessed, you know, like life hits you in different ways, in different directions. And I've been blessed with what I've been provided, and I have taken advantage of every opportunity that have presented to me in the past couple of years. So I'm a lucky dude.
Oh, amen. Hey, Carlos, man, it's so good to see you. You and I umpired together in the minor leagues. We were partners in 2012. We worked a few playoff games in the Midwest in 2011 as well. You're a classic example of the guys I tell people about, of like, yeah, this is a guy I never would have met had I not gotten into umpiring. But, you know, unique personality for sure. From Puerto Rico, now reside in Kansas City. How did that all come about, Carlos?
Man, baseball, this crazy world. So growing up, I always wanted to come to the state, play college ball, and learn English, right? So when I came to Kansas City in '04, my English was very minimal, right? So like you can still hear a little bit of the accent there. Like I still get people correcting me on the things that I got to say, or how can I speak better. But baseball brought me to Kansas City. I went to Kansas City, Kansas Community College. I played 2 years of college ball there. And then I went to University of St. Mary in Leavenworth, Kansas. Everybody know Leavenworth, Michael Big, prison, right? So Eagles, boo. But yeah, so that's gotta mix it in there. So that's what brought me to Kansas City, and like it's a very it's a big city, but with a small town flavor. And you know, we got the Royals, we got the Chiefs. It's just easy to get in and out in the airport. Like I love this city. Great places to eat, good community, just is awesome.
I think honestly that Kansas City is one of the most underrated cities in the entire country. And I'm a firm believer in that. I've been there a few times. Power and Light District. It's the Midwest, but it's got a little West Coast feel. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything. So very fortunate to be I don't know, pitching your tent there in a wonderful city.
Yeah, and like just not to mention, it's truly, I don't care what anybody says, it's the best barbecue in America, baby. It's just the mecca of barbecue. So yes,
I love it, man. That is awesome. Yeah, that was on my notes because there's Carolina barbecue, there's Texas barbecue, but KC barbecue. What makes that food so special? Now, keep in mind, you're going up against the Philly cheesesteak this weekend. So make your pitch to the people why Kansas City barbecue is better than all the barbecues and that Philly cheesesteak stuff.
Man, it's funny because at the house, we have the battle of the Carolina barbecue versus Kansas City barbecue. My fiance is from North Carolina, small town, Yakinville, North Carolina, right? So, but when it comes to what makes Kansas City barbecue, is like the way the meat is cooked and how it's smoked, but the molasses of the barbecue sauce, man, you cannot touch burnt ends with just a little bit of a kick of spicy barbecue sauce, man. It's just, there's nothing better.
Woo, man, you got me feeling it. I'm already.
Time out. Let me drink some water. Let me.
Hey, hydrate. This is important. Very important, my brother. No, that's the thing. See, when we were working together, I never wanted water from the ball boys. I had to go use the restroom. I was out there for 3 or 4 hours. But you wanted water like in between pitches almost. I remember this stuff, getting in fights with ball boys. I'm like, Carlos, we have enough problems out here. Yet you're begging for water out here. We'll get plenty after the game, man.
No, man, like always staying hydrated. Like I wanted to take care of my skin, like just outside of just vitamin C on it. I want to make sure that I always hydrated, a lot of water. And like, if I have to go to the bathroom, they can wait for us. They can't start the game without the umpire. So we just always take that break. I still do it in college baseball. Trust me, like the battle now is like, is it going to be in the 4th or is it going to be in the 6th that Carlos is going to run to the bathroom? So
yeah. Hey, after you make that run once or twice, I was like, all right, I will go thirsty for a few hours. I'll be just fine. I'll drink plenty afterwards. Yeah, dude. I mean, we worked in the same leagues together for a few years, and then we worked in the playoffs in your backyard in the Midwest in 2011. And I remember we went 4-man umpiring, and we're like, okay, cool. We're like in the big leagues for a couple weeks. And sure enough, you and Alex Ransom from Idaho, you guys would go jogging down to the bullpen and drink your water. And I have a memory of so much information in here, Carlos, that is kind of irrelevant, but at least it's coming out now. So you're just I don't know, a hydration machine.
I do. Like I still like right now. I literally try to drink rather of over 1.5 gallons of water every single day. I have this bottle right here. It says 20, but I fill it all the way to the top, so it gives me about 24 to 26 ounces. And I'm trying to drink about 8 of those every single day. So if I haven't drink 8 of them, like I don't feel pleased with myself. So I just gotta keep it going.
Oh my goodness. Do you have a specific brand of water? Or are you a Brita filter guy? What's your go-to brand? I'm curious.
And I just let America just put a little bit of whatever they're putting in that water just to purify me and let it be. Like I have a Brita at the house. We bought a brand new fridge that has one of those refillable bottles, gallons of water in there. So I just use that, but I'm not picky, like coming from Puerto Rico, we just whatever we got to drink, we just got to get through it.
I got to tell you, man, when we walked on the field together, it was such a good time. And they, you look at us like odd couple, but it's like, no, really good friends. And we didn't get to work together long, but the month or so that last year was just an absolute blast. Do you have any memories from umpiring together, or just, I guess, umpiring in the minor leagues or anything, man? It was so long ago. I can't believe it's been over 10 years, but
man, it has, like, what it made me think, like every time, like even from watching you on games, or like when I got to work with you, RIP, our boy Cooper, right? So like it reminds me of like the way that your swag calling strikes, it was remind me of Cooper. So it was very exciting, and the memory that jumps at me was getting promoted to the Cali, right? So overnight drive to Detroit, have not slept. You pick me up in San Francisco. We come down to
Modesto.
Modesto. Yeah. You pick me up. We go to Modesto. First night out, get to the Cali, and we got the shortstop from the Giants, which he was a little prick, and get a slide play at second base, and literally third inning in, just whoop, somebody got to go. So I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Welcome to the Cali. So that was fun. And then the next night, we are in Modesto again. I bowl a pitch on the beer batter, and there's like 20 people in the stands, and somebody from the stand yell, "Where's INS when we need him?" And I just started laughing. I thought it was one of the funniest things that I heard in a game, because it was like, they announced us, Hispanic guy, and they just fit in. It was pretty funny, just to just feel like you're getting attacked, but not really, just people making fun of us. So
yeah, dude, you've always had a thick skin. You're a proud patriot. You love America, and you've always been at the forefront of all that. Yeah, we got called all kinds of things in the stands. Everything's we can repeat here, but that was a funny memory. And yeah, I remember. I mean, it's just funny how naturally a lot of the Spanish speaking players would flock to you and start chatting to you. And hey, I was like, hey, go talk to him. I don't know. What are you trying to say? I don't know. It's tough to communicate out there sometimes. So I was glad because I had Chris Gonzalez before you, the most English speaking Mexican guy I've ever, not a word of Spanish. Then you came in. So you saved me, brother.
I got you.
You always got me. Oh man. Well, hey, dude, let's talk some Chiefs football, dude. You're living the dream now in KC with Chiefs football the past 5 years, whatever it was, 4 years ago. They win the Super Bowl. What did that mean, man, to not just you, but to the city of Kansas City that had waited for so long to finally get it done?
Man, it was special. Like it was awesome for the city. Like when you look at the Kansas City and think of Arrowhead as a fan base, like loudest stadium, right, in the country. It is in the world. It's unbelievable, the atmosphere and like the amount of fans they've been a fan for years, right? And having that draw from not winning the Super Bowl back in the second Super Bowl to going to 2020 and being able to win it, it was epic. The city was just electric, all the way from like the prior to the game, getting to the game, making it to the Super Bowl, and then the parade, man. That was something that was super cool. One of my best friends, he's a hardcore Chiefs fan, and like it's funny listening to like the people that been a fan for their entire life, 20-30 years, as to like, man, we have been good, but we never were good enough to get to this position. And when now you think about the big programs, they always have the expectation of winning. Now Kansas City is in the same line as to like, you always gotta get over the playoff, like AFC Championship, and make the Super Bowl, because if not, it wasn't a good season. So it's been awesome for the city, like the atmosphere, the way the people connect with each other. Like it's just so cool to be a part of.
It's a great fan base, and I have to say thank you to your Chiefs for that specific Super Bowl, because as you can tell, Carlos, I'm an LA Rams fan. I have been ever since I was a kid, even when they were in St. Louis, not too, but I have to tell you, as a Rams fan, I am a 49er hater. And when the 49ers had a 10-point lead, I think it was in the fourth quarter, 7 minutes, whatever it was, I was sweating. And when the Chiefs turned it around and ripped the 49ers hearts out, that was almost better to me than last year's Rams Super Bowl. So thank you to Chiefs Nation. Thank you.
We need it. Like I think that this game is going to be a really good one. It's going to come down to the offensive line and defensive line. If we can cause the turnover and like make sure that Chris John rush the Jalen, we're going to have a really good opportunity to come ahead and at the end of the game and be victorious. Just because like we have the better players. I just don't know yet if we have the better team as an overall. But like when you look at position by position, we are pretty stacked, and we do a really good job. So.
Oh, absolutely. You got the best player in the game in Patrick Mahomes. He's all everything. Probably the better coach, someone who's more proven. Kelsey is phenomenal. I do think Philly, man, in the trenches on both sides of the ball, especially their offensive line, they're ridiculous, because you almost they're not that like flashy, it seems. They're just kind of in the trenches, tough nose type of team. If they run the ball, to me, if they can run the ball for over 100 yards, maybe 150 even, I think they stand a real good chance. Plus that keeps the ball away from Mahomes.
From Mahomes, yeah. And that's what I feel like. I'm sorry, like that's what I feel like. If we can do a really good job rushing the passer and like being able to keeping down from running the ball, like we're gonna have a really good shot. And like we have a couple players that are healthy now. They're gonna be able to play it on Clyde, and now Pacheco's running the ball really well. So if we can put Clyde in the outside and be able to catch the ball in certain screen with Kelsey, like we're gonna be unstoppable, because he's pretty fast as well.
Yeah, it's man, it's this time of year, everyone's banged up, and you can have the best passer in the game, but you got to have balance. The Chiefs have to be able to run the ball because, man, whatever it was 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, nobody expected the Chiefs to not score a touchdown, and they didn't get in the end zone in that Super Bowl. I mean, take me back to that. I mean, were you shocked that they couldn't get in the end zone, even though it was against Brady? He doesn't play defense, but you know what I mean? Like losing to Brady in that fashion.
Man, like it was tough to watch just because like nothing that we did in that game offensively went our way. Like, Mahomes got that magic. Like, look at that. Oh, let me go this way. Look at that picture.
I see you.
Throwing the ball. No, I look, whatever it's gonna do. And like in that game, there was nothing that was going right. Like we're dropping the ball. Ball was not getting to our receivers, and then at the end of the day, we're not running the ball either because we're not the greatest running team out there. So that's what, like, when you play against Brady, like you got to have things going your way because if not, that guy was going to always find a way to win the games.
I mean, he beat you in the AFC Championship game, a few years before.
Yeah.
And then he's beating you in the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. I think so many people are respectful of his career, but a lot of people are like, all right, go away now.
Thank God. Thank God. Yes. Yes.
Because he'll find you, right?
Go home.
So I saw 2 weeks ago, and hopefully Mahomes' ankle is a little better now, but 2 weeks ago, someone I saw that was at the game was you and your fiance. It looked like you guys were having a great time. Take us to Arrowhead Stadium 2 weeks ago, what that was like, man.
Man, it was really cold. Let's start with that. Like, right. So like it was cold. Normally we tailgate, right? For this game, we try to get 12 to 15 people, get a party bus and go there. But for this game, we couldn't find like people to go. Like people already had some plans. And we're like, well, let's just go ahead and show up and go to the game. So we literally showed up, went to the game, went in, and we're ready to go. So, man, I'm talking about heated socks, heated insoles. I got five layers of shirts on Under Armour, Nike, whatever I can find for my umpiring that I'm gonna take to the game. But now, once you are in Arrowhead, like it is just nuts. Like it is one of the most epic things in the world. Because like not even when we are in offense, we kind of sit down just to keep the noise down, but you're still standing in the edge of the seat because you don't know when Mahomes is going to get the next move or something is going to happen. So the whole game, like I have no voice at the end of it. Like it was just epic being able to be there. And like Joe had a number for, the whole season. We have not been able to beat the guy. And for us to be able to like take him home and stretch him to lay in the game and take advantage of the opportunity that we had to get the field goal and win the game. It was just epic. It was awesome. You see fans crying, people like jumping on stuff. It was epic.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that rivalry is going to be like the next few years. I think Burrow and Mahomes, don't forget Josh Allen as well. I think those three teams for the next few years are really going to be going at it, albeit the Chiefs with the advantage. So you guys had a great time. And would you say that Arrowhead, KC, I hate saying this, but because it's meant out of respect, but do you think it has kind of like that college stadium feel to it that maybe other NFL stadiums don't?
100%. Like I'll give you an example. My fiance being from the Carolinas, I've been to the Panthers game, right? So when you go to Charlotte, their stadium is right downtown. And it doesn't have the feel of like actual tailgating you're there because you're tailgating in a freaking parking garage, right? So like literally you're in a parking garage, like with your trunk open, like hanging out. Where Arrowhead, you are out in the field like about 15 minutes from downtown Kansas City, and all you have is Arrowhead, Kauffman Stadium right next to each other. So the entire parking is just red. And it really does give you that atmosphere of like what some of the small town USA get from these college cities like Alabama, Nebraska, Iowa, just right there with like the Chiefs fan. It's just it's the most electric thing in the world. It's just epic.
So when you came to Kansas City, you're a baseball player, and how quickly did you flip into this super fan? Was it just something, I mean, that everyone's like, hey man, if you're going to live here, you need to be a Chiefs fan? Had you watched much football before that, or take me through that process?
Man, like to me, and even until like probably about 6 years ago, like I'll say more because I think the minor leagues is kind of what got me into talking about football, and being with the guys, and you're talking about people from other side of the country. Hey, I'm a Rams fan, and you're like, what? Why? They're in St. Louis. Like, no, but they were here in LA before, and they moved to St. Louis. So I learned that from you. And when you look at it, you start having conversation, and then like, as Puerto Rican, like our sense of pride for our island is the strongest thing in the world. If Puerto Rico is playing in basketball, if Puerto Rico is playing in tennis, is the Miss Universe on, and Puerto Rico is in the finalists, like you were like watching it. Something is going on. So like we are very like patriotic and hardened into that sense. They're like, now coming into Kansas City, it's like, what do we have? We got the Royals. I can't be a baseball fan because I work this pricks. So now I got the Chiefs, right? So, we got the Chiefs, and now you're like, man, they're good, but they're not that good. But then you like the camaraderie started going to the game. I remember going to my first game. It was a preseason game. And one of my buddies from college gave me tickets. We go to the game, and I'm like, what am I doing here? And number one, why is freaking 10 running the ball down the middle? That's the dumbest thing in the world. Everybody's there, right? So like that's what I'm thinking of football. And then come to realization, like it's not a matter of like every play you're trying to hit a home run and get 20 yards. Like there's a method to the madness of how to move the ball and then open up the offense and those kind of things that I didn't know before. So, and now when you look at the last 5 years, it's just been super fun to have, even like the past 7, because you had Alex Smith. Alex Smith was pretty good with the Chiefs. We had a couple of good seasons, and then Mahomes coming in, it's just been epic.
Yeah, for sure. NFL cities and fan bases are awesome with football, and it kind of identifies your city type of deal. I know, internationally, Puerto Rican baseball is such a big deal. It's life or death there. Something I always get knocked down for, though, Carlos, especially recently, is that I don't like soccer at all. I hate soccer. And I don't know if you do or you don't, but being someone from another country, from Puerto Rico, I mean, what are your opinions of soccer? If you like it, fine. But I'm just curious, if you do like it, what the comparison is to soccer and like the NFL.
I love my job, so I'm going to be political correct and not say anything that could get me in trouble down the road. But soccer, yeah, I watch it. I'll leave it as to the extent of that. Kansas, we're very excited because Kansas City is one of the host cities for the next World Cup, right? So if I'll be here in Kansas City, we're gonna get tickets. I'm gonna go watch it just because it's a one-time event of the World Cup. But if I don't watch soccer, I ain't missing anything, right? So as I say that, my son now likes playing soccer, and me as a proud dad, I'm supporting him. But it is what it is.
You're not missing a Chiefs football game. You might miss some soccer games here and there. Not your sons, of course. Not your sons. Not your sons.
Yeah. Like, and we got the team here in Kansas City. We got the soccer team, and beautiful stadium. It's nice. Awesome. Ask me how many times I've been to the games.
I walked by that stadium a bunch of times when I was there working the were they the
American?
Yeah,
the American
T-Bones.
Association. Yeah, the T-Bones.
KC T-Bones. Nice stadium there. So help me out. This is something people may or may not know. They don't get it. They don't understand it. All right. Kansas City is in Missouri, but there's also a Kansas City, Kansas. Help me out here, bro. I went there a little while. For us West Coasters or whoever, explain to me the two cities with the same name in different states.
Right. So I'm going to put it in the way of like Phoenix, right? If you ask anybody in Arizona where you're from, they could be in surprise and they tell you, I'm from Phoenix, right? And you're like, no, okay, but where? We're in Phoenix. And now we know that we've been able to articulate that because we lived it depending on the city that we were at. Now, Kansas City does have that part of two sides. The the concentration of Kansas City is Kansas City, Missouri, right? So, and now as the city has grown up or like has expanded, where a couple of the counties close to it are still considered Kansas City. Now, majority of there's parts of Kansas City, Kansas, so like you can relate to this, right, where the T-Bones are and the Legends, the Speedway, that part, Wyandotte, which is why I originally moved from Puerto Rico to Kansas City, that is considered Kansas City, Kansas. But outside of that, everything else is Overland Park, Lenexa, Shawnee, in the Kansas City metro area in the Kansas side. But Kansas City is actually Kansas City, Missouri.
Got you. Okay. Well, I have been there. I've been there to, you're working the river or whatever. It's just like, okay, I'm all good either way. I love this state. I love both cities. It's a great time. Indeed. Now, what about other sports in that area of Kansas and Missouri? I mean, college basketball has got to be big in those parts as well. I mean, the Kansas Jayhawks, a couple years ago win the title, or was it last year?
Last year. So we got the Jayhawk right here outside of Lawrence. I'm literally about 22 minutes door to door because when I work KU baseball games. But yeah, Kansas Jayhawk, man, it's awesome. Going to Allen Fieldhouse is an experience. Like, it's loud. You're always in your feet jumping. It's one of the coolest things going to Allen Fieldhouse and watching a basketball game. And again, like, it's funny because I was talking to one of my associates today. I'm glad they won yesterday against Texas, just because they got a tough stretch, losing against K-State, losing against Baylor. But I like the fact they have faced some adversity early on the season that can help them down the stretch in the playoff and in March Madness, just because it's so tough when you don't face adversity early in the season, and then you have to face it or play a good team. So I hope that makes it tougher going into the March Madness side. And it's always fun to watch KU basketball.
Oh, heck yeah, man. So we got to talk more sports every now. We don't need a podcast to make this happen, man. We need to set up a Saturday, just watch ball and talk smack. That'd be great. Hey, let's see. The Rams went to the Chiefs this year. So the Chiefs will be here, in 4 years, maybe sooner. So you got to come out here. I'll go out there. We got to make a game happen sometime.
Man, absolutely. I'll be really happy. SoFi Field looks like an amazing place to go watch a football game with, like, how nice it looks.
Sure.
On TV.
Yeah, it was awesome last year, man. This time last year I was nervous but excited, and it all worked out for me and my team, so I was just thrilled. Finally, Carlos, as we kind of wrap it up, what is your usual routine for the game? Like, other than going to the game, do you have a specific, I don't know, snack, drink, spot on the couch, or a specific venue? What do you usually like to do for the game? And then what will you be doing this Sunday for the game? And maybe it's the same thing.
Well, like, we're debating what we're gonna do this Sunday. I'll start with that. We are probably we're debating as we're gonna go either watch it at one of my buddy's house, or we're gonna stay at our house and watch it here and have people over. I normally like to watch it on the corner of my couch right here on the TV that I have, and I wear red. I got a nice little red Patrick Mahomes jersey. I'm wearing the white one today, representing white today, but it will be red on Sunday, and I'll be ready to scream at the TV nonstop. It's gonna be awesome. When it comes to favorite food, normally on Sunday we like to grill steaks, right? So there's gonna be some steaks in the house. There's gonna be some chicken in the trigger, and maybe just smoke a nice little pork shoulder this Sunday, just so I can make it last the entire day.
So you're saying possibly a little Kansas City type barbecue, if you will, for the big game.
1,000%. I'll probably make some pulled pork tacos with a little bit of barbecue sauce and a little bit of Puerto Rican seasoning in there that I put in Goya, and life is good, man.
You know what I miss more than I miss being out with you? I don't know. Like, after games, it wasn't just let's go sit in this corner booth or whatever. It was very exciting when after games we get some dinner or something, and I learned a lot. We'll say that, and I maybe learned how to talk to a young lady or two here and there. That was fun coming from a Don Juan. such as yourself, man.
Those were the good old days. I don't have that game anymore. Like Jess took it away, so I just do whatever she tells me to do.
Yeah, boy, you're gonna be a Hall of Fame career. There you go. You're retiring like Brady did. Hey, give me a final score, man. And I know you're cheering for your Chiefs. How do you see this game playing out on Sunday? Give me a score and a prediction.
Man, score and a prediction. You're gonna put me in the spotlight, Dad. I think
Absolutely.
we're gonna win. We're gonna win. I don't think we're gonna win. And the way that we're gonna win, I'm gonna say it's gonna be 37-34 Chiefs.
Whoa, high scoring.
Yes,
high scoring game. Okay.
They're gonna get after it early in the game. They're gonna score some touchdown. They're gonna come out of the and the third quarter is gonna slow down, and then they're gonna pick it back up in the fourth quarter, and they're just gonna give us a show. You know, it's the NFL script. It's the script that they have out there. I don't know if you read it.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. This is a script. Who was that? Oh, Arian Foster or whatever.
Yes.
Just a bitter dude. Just a bitter dude, man. Well, that sounds like a blast, dude. Angry, man. Well, Carlos, this has been so much fun. I got to bring in another member of the other team here as we're doing Super Bowl coverage here. So I got to bring in Jeff Andrews from the Philadelphia Eagles, give his perspective now. But I appreciate you coming on here, and good luck this Sunday, man. Hey, hopefully you're celebrating long into the night Sunday for another Chiefs Super Bowl.
Matt, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you. It's don't be a stranger. Keep in touch and take care of yourself, brother.
We'll do, my friend. Good luck. I'll talk to you soon. Love you, man.
Love you too. Bye.
Well, how much fun was that with my good buddy Carlos Martinez, talking about some times in the minor league, talking about some barbecue. Oh my goodness. And Arrowhead Stadium, man, a place I definitely want to get to someday, maybe in the early fall before it starts getting too cold. Because one of the coldest times in my life was the springtime in the Midwest in April and May of 2011, when Carlos and I were both in the Midwest League. And I've really enjoyed his city, Kansas City. It's a great place. I would love to go back there, and it's not a bad place to consider living even too. So good luck to the Kansas City Chiefs and my buddy Carlos Martinez. Some really good times with Carlos, both on and off the field. I would love to see him very soon. And I know his young kid is growing fast, and sounds like everything's going his way, and we'll see if it continues to go his way this Sunday. But on the other side of the coin is my good buddy Jeff Andrews, who's been on the podcast before, one of my earlier guests when I started this podcast back up in 2020. And we chatted about our minor league times together, and just umpiring and officiating in general. He's a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. He lives in Connecticut, 3 hours or so away from Philly. But Jeff and I met in Arizona, where the Super Bowl is this Sunday, and had some great times in spring training. Two guys from polar opposite ends of the country that got along quite well, and have very similar viewpoints on sports, I think. And this interview with Jeff was a lot of fun. I will tell you guys to be prepared for a little technical difficulties. There's a few minutes here and there where it does get choppy, and I think there's portion of the video here in the first half where it kind of times out, or he kind of freezes. So don't worry, it's not your phone, it's not your computer. Just give me about 10 seconds, and then I come back with the second half of our conversation. But let's get to that one now. Second half of the Super Bowl show here with none other than Mr. Jeff Andrews. Sing it, Andrew, sing it. I've never heard this before, man. Wow. What a fight song. My goodness. Not too many NFL teams have a fight song. What's going on, Jeff Andrews?
Very
joining
famous
me.
Song.
What's that?
I said very famous song, yes.
Oh, of course. I bet you the fans get a little more, when they get them a little more loose, I should say, they get a little more loud, we'll say, with the singing of that song.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course.
Fantastic. Jeff Andrews, my good friend, joining me from the state of Connecticut, not too far from Philadelphia, 3 hours or so. Jeff, man, we met in minor league baseball, specifically in spring training back in, 2011, 2012. And you've been on the show before a few years ago, but it's good to see you, man. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Matt. So I'm glad we could get this worked out and set up, and really good to be here. I follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter, wherever you're at, and it's good to be back on here with you.
Oh man, I wouldn't have it any other way. Now, lots changed since then. My LA Rams, unfortunately, they only got a few more days to brag about being the defending champs. An awful year, of course. But something else that has changed, Jeff, is you and I are almost rivals now in a way, where you work for UPS and I work for FedEx. So I don't know. It's a friendly rivalry, but that's changed in our lives.
That has changed, and it's kind of ironic that we're both umpires and both now delivering the packages out there. So that's pretty cool.
I tell people all the time, it's the first uniform I've worn in many years where people are actually happy to see me when I show up, with their packages or whatever, versus showing up to work a game.
Yeah, well, I always tell my customers, I'll never bring you bills.
Good stuff. When I heard you were doing UPS, I was like, oh, just perfect for that. You got that personality. And so you're still officiating multiple sports, or primarily just baseball?
Yeah, I'm doing 3 sports: baseball, basketball, and football.
Outstanding, man.
So
Still working the grind.
Well, it's keeping me busy. Yep. Oh yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, let's get right to the point, Jeff. You're here because you are a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. The Eagles are a passionate fan base, which we'll get to, kind of up and down the past few years, but man, what a team you guys have this year. It's your guys, it's not too long ago, you guys won the Super Bowl back in 2018, I think it was. So how are you guys feeling about this upcoming game?
We're feeling great. It's been a real exciting season for Eagle fans. Kind of took our foot off the gas there towards the end of the season. We had the Hurts injury, but seemed to be able to pick it right back up in the playoffs. Starting off with the great win against the Giants and beating the 49ers last week. Are a formidable opponent, and it's going great. We're on a roll right now, and I'm feeling good about this game. I really am, Matt.
Well, I have a few thoughts. First of all, a big thank you to Eagles Nation in defeating those dreaded 49ers. A thorn in my side as a Rams fan for sure. And also, I think back to, a few years ago, Jeff, when the Eagles played the Patriots and nobody gave them a chance. There are people giving the Eagles a chance in this game because I think up front on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive line, the Eagles are definitely A+ in both categories. But do you see any similarities to this game and 2018 when no one gave you guys a chance against another great quarterback in Tom Brady?
Yeah, this game, I actually, I see this game entirely different. Now, the Eagles, are a small 1.5-point favorite. Eagles were, I believe, a 4.5-point dog against the great Brady and the Pats. The difference here is, this is a completely different Eagle team, from head coach to quarterback to, the skill positions, even defensively in the secondary. Outside of the two lines, the offensive and defensive line, not too many players are left from the 18 Super Bowl team, and it's a tribute to the job that the franchise has done, and especially Howie Roseman, the GM. He's really built this thing back up. It's tough to take teams to Super Bowls without the same quarterback coach connection. And the Eagles have done that 4 times. This will be the Eagles' 4th Super Bowl, and it's the 4th different quarterback coach combination to play in the game. So it's a testament to not only the owner Jeffrey Lurie, but the general manager Howie Roseman as well. He's really built the team back up, to what I think is a better team than the last Super Bowl team.
Yeah, I would agree. And honestly, I think when Nick Sirianni took over, I don't think many people gave him a chance to succeed. They didn't think that he probably would succeed, but when they drafted Jalen Hurts in that second, I think it was the second round, I remember that stuck out to me and being like, this is a proven winner. I think this guy might eventually be the starter, and sure enough, he did. And Sirianni, for not knowing who he was, really got this team playing very well rather quickly.
Yes, Sirianni's done a nice job. He was in the postseason last year, in their first year. They lost to the Bucks. Got blown out, but that proved to be a learning experience for not only Hurts, Sirianni, but the rest of the young players on the Eagles. And look, when the Eagles brought in Sirianni, it was just another one of these what has come to be a new NFL hire. It was a hotshot offensive-minded coordinator who not a lot of people have heard of, and those guys are a dime a dozen these days in the NFL. And Sirianni has worked out. He's done a good job, and he's he's in the Super Bowl. And we'll see what happens now with Hurts. I don't think anybody thought Jalen Hurts was going to be this good. And I don't want to offend any of your listeners out there on the West Coast, but I would put Hurts right now ahead of Herbert. I would do that. I think he's earned that, and we'll see what happens down the line. But I certainly didn't expect this to add a Jalen Hurts. We knew we were getting a good kid. We knew we were getting a kid who had won in college. Played at Bama. Nothing wrong with that. But he's been, nothing short of spectacular. And, the team has really grown around him, and, they look up to him as a leader, which is, most important.
Most important. Yeah. Sorry, we broke up a little there. This team just feels like Philadelphia, blue collar, not nothing too flashy. They up front, both sides of the ball, their offensive, defensive lines are just tough. They do have some playmakers, wide receivers and such, but it just has a Philadelphia feel to it, in my opinion. Do you get that? Is everyone kind of taking pride in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've said over the course of the season, that I'm proud of this team, because you're absolutely right. That's great up front, led by Kelsey, who's going to be going to the Hall of Fame. Great Eagle. Lane Johnson, up there. He was part of the last Super Bowl team. And then you flip over the defensive side. You look at guys like Brandon Graham, who famously had the streak of Brady to ice the last Super Bowl. Fletcher Cox, seems like he's been an Eagle as long as anybody. And they're really hard nosed, and it's a fun team to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I think even if Fletcher Cox doesn't get the number sacks wise in this game, I think he's going to be a very impactful player. Going back to the coaching of this team, and kind of the irony really of facing off against Andy Reid. What does that feel like? I mean, I know Andy was he was pretty beloved in the city of Philly, right? Or was it just kind of, hey, it's his time to go? I mean, talk me through how Philly fans feel about Andy Reid overall.
Yeah, I love Andy Reid. And that makes this game a little trickier. But I was telling a couple buddies, this is going to be the first time that I've rooted against Andy Reid. I loved Reid here in Philly. He was here a long time. Took the team to a Super Bowl. Took them to 5 NFC championship games. Andy always holds a special place in my heart as an Eagle fan, and I always root for Andy Reid. Just not when it's against the Eagles.
Well, sorry, sports fans, for technical difficulties. Me and Jeff are working through it. We're going to try to get through this, Jeff. Maybe, I don't know, 2 minutes. We got more time.
No,
but anyway, we talked Andy Reid, how much the city of Philly loves him. And, it was a shame he couldn't get a victory for the Eagles, but great success, a Hall of Famer indeed. Talk to me about your fandom, Jeff. When did you become an Eagles fan living in Connecticut, surrounded, I'm assuming, by what, Patriots and Giants fans?
Yep, a lot of my buddies growing up were Giant fans, Jet fans. Patriot fans as we got into the 21st century. It's funny. My father was a Steeler fan, and I started watching the NFL in the early 90s. 93, 94. I was 8 or 9 years old. I had watched the baseball. Baseball will always be my first love. And as I started to get towards that age, started to get into football a little bit more. Started playing football when I was 9 years old. So, I was watching the NFL with my dad. And, around that time, there was a kid that came into the NFL at a UNLV. And his name was Randall Cunningham. And Randall was completely different than any other player playing quarterback back in those days. He was a very exciting player, and I grew a liking to Randall. And that's how I started following the Eagles. And we would sometimes see Eagle games on TV around here. Like you said, I'm not too far from Philly, about 3 hours. So if the Giants weren't on, or one of the other local teams maybe had a primetime game that week, we would get the Eagle game. So I did see the Eagles a little more than most other teams in the league at that time. Because we got to remember, the way we watch the NFL today is not like it was 30 years ago. You didn't always see every game and get to see all the players like you do these days. So Randall was the first Eagle that I saw, and I remember watching Randall and taking a liking to the way he played. And then shortly after, a few years later, either 95, 96, the Eagles traded for Ricky Waters, or they signed Ricky Waters, and Ricky, it was another Eagle who I really liked, Ricky Running Waters.
Ricky Running Waters, yeah.
Out of Notre Dame. And then Ricky was there for a few years. And those were guys that, I emulated in the backyard football games growing up. And then in 99, McNabb came in, and so on and so forth. So that's the history on me with the Eagles.
Now being an Eagles fan in your part of the country, do you get a lot of grief? Because I know East Coasters are a lot different than us West Coasters. We're soft and everyone roots for teams from other states and everything. There's no sense of loyalty out here on the West Coast, Jeff. I'm just saying it right now. I'm a bitter man, but hey, it is what it is. East Coast fanhood. I mean, how much do you get hammered for being an Eagles fan?
It's different. You're right. It's different. We take the sports very seriously here. My close friends are Giant fans. Okay. I have some friends that are Dallas fans. They're everywhere, unfortunately.
Everywhere.
My buddies who are Jet fans, not too much. They're kind of always hunkered away in their little corner of misery, with the Jet fans. I would say, though, between the Cowboy fans and the Giant fans and the Eagle fans, it's intense. When game day rolls around, even the days leading up to, there might be some not so nice text messages being sent out amongst buddies. But we're passionate. We love the NFL, and there is a lot of passionate fan bases around you. You're absolutely right about that.
Well, those teams you mentioned, Eagle, Giants, and Cowboys, I mean, divisional opponents, just ramped up intensity. It had to be fun beating the Giants in the playoffs, of course. And then the Cowboys, man, anytime you can take down those guys, it's got to be great. Talk to me, if you would, about Eagles fans, because they get this perception around the country as, yes, passionate, but some would say occasionally they maybe cross the line. I mean, they've booed Santa Claus, for God's sake, back,
1981.
They are just a different breed from what I see. I've seen videos of them calling fans names just before the games has even started, throwing stuff at fans. I mean, is it all true? Is it all, is that all a reality?
Yeah, it's true. And there's a famous video back for NFL Films, and it's Bill Parcells when he was coaching the Giants, and Andy Reid when he was with the Eagles. And Andy was a very young man back then, and there's a conversation and there's a mic on them both, and Bill looks at Andy and says, you're coaching in the toughest place in the country. And the next thing he says to him is, and your team is not too good. So this is not going to be a good experience for you. And and he's right about that. Eagle fans have a reputation of being nasty, over the top. Not only to opponents, Matt, but when the team is down and the product isn't up to their standard, they turn on the team very quickly. And it's tricky. However, when they win, they're as rabid and as loyal a fan base as you're going to find. Now, I will tell you this. When I go to watch the Eagles, and I don't go to a lot of NFL games, never have. It's a made-for-TV sport, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But when I do go watch the Eagles, I don't go to Philly to do it. I'll go to Giant Stadium. I've even been to Pittsburgh to see him. But to this day, I have never seen the Eagles in Philadelphia. And a lot of that is by choice. And I'm an Eagle fan. Now, that being said, to be fair, there's fans that are over the top and rabid and crazy everywhere. You see them on TV.
The Raiders come to mind out here.
You see them on you see them on TV every week, you see all these fights posted in social media, and it's really not a good thing for the NFL. And but there's crazy fans everywhere. The Eagles just happen to get the rap of being the worst.
I think someone's got to be the villain, and it seems to me that Philly Eagles fans are just, I don't know if they're just pent up, if they're delusional, they have high standards or what, but they got that Super Bowl a few years ago. And what was that like? Do you remember that? What did you do to celebrate? I mean, what can you tell us you did to celebrate it? Just what was it like for the city and just for Eagles fans everywhere that night?
Yeah, I do remember. I can remember crying. I was so happy. It was the first Super Bowl in the history of the franchise. It's not easy to win Super Bowls in this league. There's still teams from the merger that have never played in the Super Bowl. And we kind of have seen over the last 20 years what the Pats have done. We're not going to see something like that again. It's not easy to get to this game, and it's even harder to win this game. And the Eagles have been close for the 30 years I've been a fan, prior to a few years ago. And it was exciting. It was a great feeling. And I'm hoping to have that same feeling on Sunday.
Absolutely, man. I think
it never gets old.
No, it doesn't. And that pressure, that emotion. I mean, last year I was a wreck. To see the Rams finally do it in Los Angeles was a big deal for me, for all my fake LA sports fans that, root for other teams and such. But it meant the world to me and my dad and my family.
And that's exactly, and that's a great point, Matt, and just what I said. I mean, look at the Rams last year compared to this year. Yeah. It's hard to get back to this point. It really is. So, I don't take it for granted, because I've been on the losing side of the game. I've been on the losing side of many NFC Championship games. So
it hurts.
It does.
It hurts. We are grown men, and these are the things that upset us. I'm sorry.
Now, I'll tell you. Now, it'll be interesting. Now, and I thought about this. If the Eagles win it on Sunday, and they get the second Super Bowl title of my lifetime, it'll be interesting to see if that changes a little bit. True. Having seen the two titles, I mean, like I was saying, I got buddies who are Jet fans. They weren't alive the last time the Jets played in this game. So, I understand. Viking fans, I got a bunch of buddies who are Vikings fans. And you talk about a franchise that just never gets it done. I mean, the Vikings been in the postseason 31 times and have never won a Super Bowl. But it'll be interesting to see how I feel, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl this year, going into next season and the years to come, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. It's a great thing to celebrate, icing on the cake. And you're just like, anything else that happens is gravy. But then here we are again. Your team is back in this big game a few short years later. Jeff, I talked to my good friend Carlos Martinez, who's in Kansas City, a huge Chiefs fan. It was a fun interview, and He's feeling great about the game, of course, as I'm sure you are. But one thing we talked about was a little bit of food. I always love the merchandise, or football and food kind of go together. You got to make your case, man. He made a strong case for Kansas City barbecue and how good that is. So to me, this is KC barbecue versus Philly cheesesteaks, in my opinion. Are you a cheesesteak fan, and are Eagles fans just lunatics on that stuff?
Yeah, we are. Who doesn't love a good cheesesteak? I will say this: there's only one Philly cheesesteak. Um, Barbecue you can find in a lot of places. I will say that. But I am a barbecue lover. I'm also a cheesesteak lover. And I'll tell you a funny story about probably one of the best cheesesteaks I ever had, Matt. I was down in Daytona Beach, Florida at umpire school in 2009. And I had a buddy from Connecticut who had just moved down there. So we were hanging out on Sundays. Sundays was our day off. And he said, let's go to this great, and the Eagles were in the playoffs that year. They played the Giants in the divisional round, and then they went on to lose to Arizona in the NFC Championship game. And we went to a place called Famous Phillies down in Daytona Beach, Florida. Don't know if it's open still today, but we went there, and I can remember watching the Giant game that first week, and then watching the NFC Championship game. And I might have been on my second cheesesteak as I was watching Larry Fitzgerald just absolutely torch us. And, the Cardinals went on to the Super Bowl of the year, but a fabulous Philly cheesesteak in Daytona Beach, Florida, Famous Phillies. One of the best I've ever had. Now, cheesesteak, I like mine with the traditional onions. I also like mushrooms in my cheesesteak. I prefer the cheese whiz. Okay, if that's not available, melted provolone is the way that I'll go.
Yes,
that's how I'll eat my Philly cheesesteak. Also a fan of chicken Phillies too.
not
Can't
bad.
go wrong with those.
No, not at all. And we've had a few good ones out here. We like, Philly's Best is cool. And then there's a place in Scottsdale, I forget what it was called, but spring training. It's man, we'd end up there late at night. And
yeah, and mentioned Scottsdale. It's cool. The Super Bowl's in Arizona this year.
mm-hmm.
I think this is the fifth one in Arizona. But that's where I met you, Matt, right out there in Glendale. And we used to drive past the stadium every day on the way to the fields and back to the hotel. And I tell you, with all this coverage going on now, ESPN, NFL Network, I see all these sets out there in Arizona, Scottsdale, Glendale, and it brings back some good memories of the time that I spent out there, with you and others. And it's good. I always think about baseball when I see Arizona, but on Sunday I'll be thinking about football.
It's hard not to. Yeah. The native New Yorker, all kinds of great places there. Just a fan of Arizona in general. And yeah, some great moments there in spring training, and so much fun, man. That's all I could say. I wish we lived closer so we could partake in some more of that. Jeff, you kind of, oh man, we'll make it happen somehow. Maybe an Eagles Rams game, either out there or out here, whatever. We'll make that happen. I think we need to.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about how you normally watch a game. What is you haven't gone to games in Philly. On a typical Sunday, are you a sit by yourself kind of guy, holding the barbecue, holding a pillow and a tall glass of lemonade, or throwing and yelling? I mean, what's your typical Sunday watching the Eagles play?
That's what I like to do. I used to be a guy. I used to like going out to the bars to watch the games. I've kind of, I don't know if you want to say growing out of that or whatever. It doesn't do it for me anymore. Because I find there'd be too many distractions. So I like to watch the games either by myself or with a small group of friends. And the reason that is now is because I like to analyze the games and really pay attention, because I love the NFL, just as much as you do. So my typical Sunday will normally be in the morning. I'm normally doing some kind of sports, in the fall, maybe it might be baseball, football. This time of year, it's basketball. So I'll normally knock out a few, if I'm umpiring, I'm officiating basketball, take care of that in the morning. And I like to be home and sit on the couch from 1 o'clock right up until, depending on how good the Sunday night game is, and it's usually, usually really good. I'll try to stay with that all the way through. So it's an all day event. I'm not a fan of the Red Zone channel. Never have been. I like to watch individual games. I don't do fantasy football.
God bless you. God bless you, Jeff.
That is not for me.
No.
Now listen, fantasy has helped the game tremendously. It's helped to grow it. It's helped the popularity of the game. But I can't sit there and
no.
and think about fantasy football when I'm watching the NFL. And it's worse when you got guys, when your buddies are in fantasy leagues and you're trying to watch the game and they're talking about what this guy in the Browns is doing in a 30-10 game, and it's like, who cares? I want to know if that coach made the right call on fourth down. Did he go for the 2-point conversion properly? How's his clock management? Those are the things that I enjoy about the game. And I tell you, there's plenty to pick on with clock management these days.
Oh goodness. Yeah, you got that right. We are simpatico, Jeff. We are locked in together. I'll watch the Red Zone here and there, maybe, but I like, because it is fast paced and everything, but I like control of what I'm watching. And sometimes, even though it's dead time, that 40 seconds between plays, there's stuff going on. It's kind of like the stuff going on between pitches in baseball. You're kind of thinking or strategizing. And so for me, that's how I like to, I'll put out a second or third TV to kind of watch some other games. So that's typically what I do. We're the same. Now we start at 10 a.m. out here, Jeff. Can you imagine football starting at 10?
And let me tell you something. I am very envious of that. And a lot of people on the East Coast are, because the one time I vacationed out to Vegas, many years ago, and I could remember how great it was to sit down at 10 a.m. and start watching the NFL, because it's over by, it's over much earlier, exactly, than it is out here. And like I mentioned before, if I can get through the Sunday night game, because that game doesn't get over till 11:30, 12 o'clock. I love the idea of the NFL starting at 10 o'clock on the West Coast. A lot of people on the East Coast are very jealous of that.
That's so funny. That is funny. Yeah. Nothing like omelets, nothing like omelets and a little brunch, 10 a.m. on a Sunday watching football.
I'm glad you brought that up. And also when I watch the NFL, so I use YouTube TV now, and
good one.
They're getting the NFL ticket. Now, what's going to be interesting is if they offer a package for select teams, that'll be excellent, because I get a lot of Eagle games here on the local Fox feed, and the Eagles play a lot of primetime games, so they're on TV a lot here, even without the ticket. But YouTube TV is getting the ticket now, so that'll be interesting to see what happens for next season. If you're able to handpick your games, I think that'd be great for fans.
Yeah, I've had the Sunday ticket for years now. I just do it through an app. They have literally a Sunday ticket app that you download, sign up there, and if you're streaming on YouTube TV, you can stream the app without YouTube TV. And I get every Rams game here in the LA market, but still I like having it because I like watching other games and having control. And it's expensive, but man, it's the cost of basically a ticket to one NFL game these days. Boy, ticket prices are.
And the game is made for TV. In my opinion, there's no better place to watch the NFL than on TV.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's made for TV. Yeah.
I like getting to a game once a year, maybe. But no restroom lines, no line, no $20 beverages or food items. Like everything's right there. It's magic. You can pause live TV even these days.
And then the other thing, Matt, if you're here in the Northeast, once the weather gets bad, you could freeze your what off out there. Later in the season, it gets cold. So,
oh man, we've been bundled up out here. It's been 50 degrees the past few weeks, Jeff. We've been dying slowly out here on the West Coast. This frigid weather we've been having. Hey Jeff, lastly, what are your plans this Sunday? How are you going to watch the game? And then I do need to get a score and a prediction out of you. But what are your plans this Sunday? Have you committed to the plans? Are you going to try to just keep it low key? What are you doing?
Going to keep it low key. Probably just a couple buddies. You don't want to, when your team's in the game, you don't want to be at a big party.
No.
Because there can be too many distractions. Everybody huddles to the TV sets. for different reasons for this game. The NFL season really ended 2 weeks ago because this game is completely different than any other game the rest of the year. It just is. You're going to have a lot of eyeballs on the set, but I'll watch the game with a couple buddies. Nothing crazy. We'll have some wings. Now you got to remember, here on the East Coast, we got to wait till 6:30. So
I know 6:30,
and it's not like I can go out and play golf in the morning. So I gotta negotiate what I'm gonna do. For the whole day, in the anticipation, of course, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat, ready for the game to start. And then you got to sit through the longer halftime. So it's a different game than the rest of the season. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Prediction wise, I knew you were going to put me on the spot. I have great respect for the Chiefs. I love Andy Reid, as we talked about. I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. The Chiefs have the best player. They might have the best two players with Kelsey, who's tremendous. They have the better coach. I think the Eagles are better on defense. I think they're better at the skill positions, with the exception of the quarterback, which is the most important. This should be a close game. I think the final score is going to be Philadelphia 24, Kansas City 21. It's impossible to pick these games, but you put me on the spot. I'm your guest. I got to give you a prediction. 24-21 Eagles. And that's what I'm going with, Matt.
I love it, man. Hey, Carlos, you know who he took, and he went a little higher scoring on you. But I think each of you had this as a 3-point game. So anything can happen. No one gave you a chance years ago. I think you have a real shot this year. If you can get after Mahomes a little bit, you never looking to injure anybody, but maybe, that foot may be a little sore and bang it up, and who knows? We'll see what happens, man. I like the Eagles' chances in this game. But as you said, probably the better coach and definitely the best quarterback. So we'll see, man. This is why we play the game. That's right. Why we watch it, brother. Oh, man. Well, good luck. Good luck, bro. It is so good seeing you. I know we text and interact through social media here and there.
Yep.
Well, we'll have to do a football Sunday sometime next year, even if it's on Zoom for just an hour or so, and enjoy some football.
You know what? We would be perfect together doing that, because just like we talked about, we're into the same stuff, and there's certain ways to watch these games, and we're on the same page with that. So that'd be fantastic.
Oh, we'll do it, man. Well, I got to get out to the East Coast soon. And thank you, Jeff. Good luck. Sleep well. I know these next few days are going to be tough, but hey, once that kickoff rolls around, I'm sure you'll be popping them wings and enjoying yourself. Fly, Eagles, fly, my friend.
Thank you, Matt. Great to be here, and I appreciate you having me on.
Well, an absolute blast talking to both of my friends there, Carlos Martinez and Jeff Andrews, man. I just seeing those guys and chatting with those guys for 5 minutes even makes me smile, and it brings back so many fond memories. I'm looking forward to the game this weekend, and I know that one of them's going to be happy, one of them's going to be sad. That's just the way the ball bounces sometimes. But I seriously do need to get out to KC, get out to the East Coast, and see my buddies, because it's been far too long. And I know that whatever we end up doing, time will fly by, and we'll just be like, where did the time go, man? Let's do this again. So, part of friendship, part of being a good friend, part of having great friends is just that interaction with each other, that you don't see each other that often, but you don't count the time, you make time count, right? And all that good stuff. So two guys that I love dearly, and I'm looking forward to one of them being very happy. And to the other guy, hey, you could have been 5-13 this year, like my team was. 5-13, 5-12, I think it was. Whatever it was. The Rams are awful. Only a few more days left as the defending Super Bowl champions. I have enjoyed this year so much. Well, up until about October it was, but last year at this time, nervous as could be. And then when the Rams finally did it, just overjoyed. And you guys hear me talk about the Rams all the time, and I'm sure it's a pain to listen to, especially last year on the post Super Bowl show, where I let it all out, let the emotions go. And so it's why we cheer for teams. It's why we root for guys we've never met, may never meet. It's just the beauty of sports, the beauty of football specifically, and the best day of the year, Super Bowl Sunday. Yes, the most important of all championships out there. Who cares what the world's doing? What we're doing in America is watching NFL football. I don't know where to go on the prediction for me. I really could go either way. I love the lines of both Philly on both sides of the ball, but how do you bet against Mahomes? 2 years ago, they didn't score a touchdown in this game. I can't see that happening again, but Philly could control the clock. They could make this a low scoring game, ugly it up. I don't know. I'm going to go a slight edge here with Andy Reid, because 2 years ago, Andy Reid was up against a coach he was better than, but that team did have Tom Brady and Bruce Arians and of course a lot of other guys. So I think this time Big Red gets it done once again against his former team, and maybe a little added, I don't know, added pleasure, added bonus, whatever, for Andy Reid to get it done against his former team. I think that's truly something special. I think it's a 1-score game. I think it's 1, 2, or even 3 points, much like my guest said. I am going to go, that's semi-low scoring. I'm going to go 22-20 Kansas City. 22-20. I know it's a weird score, but I always feel like there's kind of a weird score in some of these games. So I could be dead wrong. Who knows? Could be a blowout, could be whatever. That's my prediction. I'm throwing it out there. All goes as Mahomes goes. But again, if Philly can control the clock, I know Jalen Hurts is banged up. That's a whole nother factor in this game too. So I'm going 22-20 Kansas City. You guys know me and my predictions aren't that great, but you've heard the scores here, 3 different scores, 3 different predictions. We'll see what happens. Guys, enjoy the game. Get those wings ready. Mozzarella sticks, pizza, sandwiches, whatever your drink of choice is. Enjoy the game. I know some of you like the commercials. Some of you don't. Some of you just want to watch football. Some of you hate the pregame. Some of you love the pregame. Whatever you do to celebrate this great day. And I would argue, I think it needs to be moved to a Saturday. I think it needs to be moved to a Saturday evening. I think the game should kick off about 2:00, maybe on the East Coast or West Coast, and of course 5:00 for our friends out in the East. That's if I was king for a day, one of the many changes I would make so that everyone has Sunday to recover maybe and go about their business. So good luck to the Chiefs. Good luck to the Eagles. No Niners or Cowboys. So I'm a happy man. I'm good either way. All right, go enjoy the game, guys. And thank you to Carlos and to Jeff for coming on the Get Home Safe podcast, and to you new listeners out there. Hopefully you guys give me a follow, give us a like, follow us on Instagram. I post clips there. And of course you can find our podcast pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts at under Get Home Safe, and a YouTube channel. Of course, if you're watching it here, you know where to find it. Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy the game. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back next week with a recap of the big game from Super Sunday. But until then, guys, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or around in third base, get home safe.